All righty. I don't know what just happened, but we are back. Shout out to technology. It's pretty cool. We're gonna have a good stream for you guys today. Going to answer as many fantasy questions as we possibly can. I appreciate y'all for being here with us. We will start with some news around the NFL. Talk about what's going on. I know for tomorrow night, for example, T. Higgins has been ruled out. So that's obviously, you won't have him again. It's not surprising. I mean, this is kind of the T. Higgins experience. You play him and he wins you weeks, and then he's out for multiple weeks, and it costs you. So that's kind of the T. Higgins experience. But we appreciate y'all for being here with us. Are we in fact live? Can we ensure that we are live?
Yeah,
okay, we
are in fact live. And what I just realized is that old live stream had a super chat. So
yes, I know. LeVar Ball, and it said flex Chase Brown or Brian Thomas this week. But
there was somebody else as well from earlier yesterday.
Okay.
And I took a photo of that.
I'll just start there. I'll say Chase Brown.
Yeah.
And then why don't you upload that photo to the drive, and we'll have a look at that in a second. I will go Chase Brown. Love his matchup. Actually, don't love his matchup, but just love his usage. I mean, I know Khalil Herbert's there, but he's going to dominate. So that would be Chase Brown for me. How about you?
Chase Brown or Brian Thomas this week. Yeah, I like Chase Brown as well.
He's just a safer play, in my opinion.
I agree.
Appreciate y'all for being here with us. Do us a favor, hit that like button as the stream begins. We are going to go through some news to start the stream, but of course, if you want to get your questions in and prioritized, definitely check out the website. Our website is where we will start every time we stream. That's where we will begin answering questions. So definitely check out our website. Like we say pretty consistently now for about 2 months, every stream that we begin, if there's questions on the site, that's exactly where we will start the stream. So get your questions in there. If you don't have an account yet, you can actually create one for free when you use our promo code LAND. And when you sign up with our promo code LAND, I'll put a link in the chat for you. You get a couple things for free, like the My Teams feature, the trade calculator, the rankings, expert consensus rankings. And then when you link up your team, as long as you have a Sleeper, ESPN, or Yahoo League, it becomes so easy to submit a question here. So for example, you link your league up, you click here on the left, your settings are automatically imported. And then all you need to do is find the first player that's on your team. It will link the rest of your team. And now you need to go through every position, tell us exactly who you're considering, and we'll help you set your lineup each and every week. You can see, you can submit a team review, trade question, start sit, a super message. But we appreciate y'all for being here with us. We will get to these questions first. But first things first, before we get to any questions, let's look at some news around the NFL. Mike Evans, Jalen McMillan not practicing. Really no Bucks practicing today, and that's okay.
Literally.
Gus Edwards could be back soon. This is the big surprise, I'd say, so far of the week. Devonta Smith didn't practice today because of a hamstring injury, and that's honestly a little bit shocking. I actually was preparing to use him in a video that releases tomorrow, so might have to pivot. We'll see. But yeah. Funnily enough, A.J. Brown is actually limited, and Devonta Smith is not practicing. So that's funny how that works. Chris Olave is going to see specialists. No decision on IR just yet. There was another story that came out where he said that basically he's going to consult with his family. He has a kid, and he's going to think about, important things. So we'll see. Well, the opposite of Tua vibes, actually. Like he's actually considering
doing something about
things.
I was like, no, I'm coming back.
Tajay is limited. Dallas Goedert says he's going to play. Drake London's limited, which is great. Good sign for him. Same with Brian Robinson. Pretty much every 49er is limited, but that's good. We'll take limited. We'll take limited for these 49ers. We'll take that all day.
Yeah, for real.
Let's see. Is there anything else? Jonathan Brooks is going to probably make his debut. He's definitely going to be activated. So he will be activated. We just don't know if he'll play or not. Bryce Young will start at quarterback in week 10. Is there any other news? CeeDee Lamb isn't practicing. The Titans are talking about managing Tony Pollard's workload. I think Tajay Spears is a big answer to that. Nico Collins, when I released the wide receiver video, everyone was like, hey, Nico Collins is playing this week. He's playing this week. I don't know if he is. He might. I think it's about a 50-50 shot. I don't think it's like a guarantee like everyone is assuming, but everything is so far trending in the right direction for him to play. Passed all the tests for his hamstring injury. Keon Coleman's not practicing. And I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah. Well, I think all that's pretty much it. The only one that we probably didn't cover were the trades. They weren't really that big of a trades. Khalil Herbert to the Bengals, but I don't really see how that is going to be a huge effect personally.
I think he will play the Zach Moss role, what that role is now, but he's not going to impact him this week for sure.
Yeah. So I think other than that, we are good to go.
All right, let's get to some of these questions on the website here. Slush Monkey is the first one. Says, trying to trade him, but why so low on Rhamondre Stevenson? 3 bad weeks like Cook, Harris. Is it because he's touchdown dependent? He might be referring to my rest of season rankings. I actually don't even know where I have Rhamondre Stevenson rest of season. Let me have a look, because genuinely I just don't really know. It's not a player I think about too much. He's at RB 27. That feels pretty fair to me. I mean, would you prefer Stevenson or Najee at this point?
I would still prefer Stevenson.
How about
personally.
Stevenson and Rachaad White, Bucky, Chase Brown, Tyrone? You prefer Stevenson over any of those names?
I would prefer Stevenson over Chase Brown over.
Okay.
I don't know if I would do it over the Bucks wide receivers. It's been pretty big. Yeah. That's kind of where I'm at. I have right now Rhamondre Stevenson RB 22.
Okay, so I guess I am lower on him than everybody else. I will explain. I do think he is touchdown dependent. I mean, the proof is in the pudding. If he scores a touchdown, you're happy that you started him. If he doesn't score a touchdown, you're absolutely devastated. I mean, weeks 3 and 4, no touchdown. A 0-point game and an 8-point game. In week 7, a 4-point game without a touchdown. And I'm hoping that this is like what Devin Singletary was last year, if Drake May can continue to, elevate this team. But yeah, I'm not really in love with him so far this year, especially because we've seen so many weeks where they've been up and down and they've benched him before, and I don't think that's going to continue to happen. But he just doesn't. He wouldn't be someone that I'm rocking into the playoffs with, thinking like, yeah, I know I can rely on this guy each and every week.
Right. No, look, it makes sense. I can understand. I think what I've noticed from Rhamondre Stevenson was that he was really struggling with those injuries in weeks 3 and 4. Sure. Obviously, he missed week 6, and I think that also led into his down game in week 7. And, this team didn't really know what was happening. They were going back and forth with Drake May. This offense looks better with Drake May, and if Drake May is going to be the starting quarterback for the rest of the season, more scoring opportunities for Rhamondre Stevenson. So that's kind of where I'm leaning, but I can understand, the touchdowns. It makes sense, right? The games that he had good weeks, he scored touchdowns, and if he didn't score a touchdown, it wasn't there. But I think there's also context behind that with those injuries, or with that injury he was dealing with, but I can see both sides.
Yeah, as far as trading him, I mean, if you're trying to trade him, you're not very high on him, then are you, Slush Monkey? So, personally, if I could turn Rhamondre Stevenson into some of those names, I would. Like, if I can turn him into a Brian Robinson, I would. B-Rob's been dealing with injuries, but when he's healthy, he's that guy on the goal line for them, and they reach the red zone so often. I'd trade him for a Tyrone or a Chase Brown. Rachaad White, I love Rachaad White's playoff schedule. James Conner, if I could turn him into James Conner, I would do that in a heartbeat. But outside of that, man, I don't know. There's going to be a split league on Rhamondre Stevenson. Some people will be into him, some people won't.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, don't bet on me with a trade question. They're 3 and 5. Should I sell Kelce? This is a Dynasty League. So it's a Dynasty 2 quarterback, 12 team start 11. If you're going to try and sell Travis Kelce, does a second do anything for you? I'm not so sure it does much for me. I
think it just depends on the construction of your team. If you know that you're not going to compete for the next 2 to 3 years, then that second I think is worth it. Unless you're like in this middle part where you need one more piece next year, or 2 more pieces going into the 2025 season, and maybe you can get that in the draft, then I would rather be holding Travis Kelce. But if you know you are not going to compete, I'm happy to take a second right now, because I don't think you can get a first I don't think anyone's going to give you multiple seconds for Travis Kelce, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, I would. I don't know. A 12 team start 11. Kelce becomes very valuable in that format, I think. I'll be honest. I think I'm gonna hold out here. I don't see how you could project a 2026 pick. It says early to mid. That seems impossible to project. I'd rather turn Travis Kelce into a name that is unproven thus far. And I'll talk about some names here real quick in Dynasty. Let me just pull up my rankings. Like Trey Benson comes to mind. I talked about Trey Benson recently on our Dynasty channel. Let me look through here. Trey Benson comes to mind. If you can turn him into Jonathan Brooks. If you can do like even add Jalen Wright into that deal for the second, you know. I'm not asking for, you know, a top 5 name in return, but I'm asking for a little bit more uncertainty. Like add Audric Estime in there with that second round pick. So
yeah, I'm okay to do that as well.
Just thinking through ideas, or you know, I know Jermaine Burton's been super disappointing and the guy can't even show up to a practice, but add him and the second round pick. Add Troy Franklin and a second round pick. You know what I mean? Just names like that who haven't really broken out. Jalen Polk. So, Adonai Mitchell, Jalen Coker. I mean, I just want to add a little something there to kind of break the bow if Travis Kelce does play until he's 38 years old. So yeah, I'd say it's a pretty close deal though.
Yeah, no, I understand. I think Crush 5 is next. We appreciate you, and this is a Dynasty 2 quarterback, 12 team start 10. Okay, so he is considering. Well, a couple quarterbacks here: Trevor Lawrence, Daniel Jones, Mac Jones here. Well, not really Mac Jones, but Trevor Lawrence against the Vikings, Daniel Jones. I mean, for me, I'm just gonna go Trevor Lawrence there with Lamar Jackson.
Same, but I don't think that Daniel Jones is the worst option this week.
No, I don't think so. I think the matchup is favorable, but I'm still gonna go Trevor Lawrence. Expectations that, you know, maybe this team is down. Specifically for Trevor Lawrence, and he needs to score. He's QB 11 so far in the year. The last 3 games, over 15 fantasy points per game. And Daniel Jones, I mean, sometimes he throws a touchdown and sometimes he doesn't. Where Trevor Lawrence has been pretty consistent. I feel like 11 touchdowns on the year right now.
Talking up Trevor Lawrence,
I mean,
I love it.
Look, I'm talking him up versus Daniel Jones. I think.
Well, I actually have Daniel Jones ahead of my rankings, and here for this week specifically, Carolina. I don't know that you can point to a quarterback that's busted versus Carolina. And if Daniel Jones is going to play the entire game, that's the only thing that worries me. If I knew Daniel Jones was going to play the entire game, this would be Daniel Jones for me. Again, like, look through their schedule. Tell me a quarterback that you haven't been happy with who's played Carolina. So if I knew Daniel Jones was playing the entire game, this would be Daniel Jones for me. But I'm fine to go Trevor Lawrence if you want that safety of knowing he'll stay in the game. 2 quarterback, 12 team start 10. At wide receiver, they're considering names like Keenan and Sutton and Palmer. Olave won't play this week, neither will Higgins. Oh, they're getting screwed over by injuries.
Yeah, they are.
I feel like you just have to play the Keenan and the Sutton here, right? I mean, there's not... You can't get too cute with this. Run the Dobbs on by. Yeah.
Nah, you can't get cute with this at all. I see that you have Tony Pollard there. I think you can start him at the flex position.
Definitely.
And then in the second flex position, you're considering, I guess, maybe Trey Benson, Audric Estime, Trey Palmer, Ray McLeod could be interesting with potentially no Drake London. I mean, you have
adversity this guy's dynasty team has gone through.
Gosh, I mean, and so many people on bye.
Chris Olave, T. Higgins with the injury, Brandon Ayuk out for the season. Eric All just went down. He would have been like a desperation play. Yeah, that's rough. Are you just putting Ray in this one?
Yeah, that's exactly where I'm going. I'm going Ray McLeod if Drake London doesn't play. And if Drake London does play,
I still think it's Ray.
I would be going Audric Estime because there's conversation. I mean, actually, no, I wouldn't go Audric Estime. Terrible matchup this week. I'm not doing that.
Yeah, tough week this week, Crush. Good luck. What's up, tough. Daniel 007? He says yesterday was official. Badaki Hunt holiday. 3 in a row. Let's go. Tua pickup over Knicks or May.
You were sweating, by the way, all the way up until the fourth quarter.
Oh yeah, I was, and anyone who owned Kareem Hunt was sweating.
Yeah, not just you, but just anyone who owned Kareem Hunt. But yes,
Yeah.
anyways, continue.
Well, I think I respect Bo Nix more than the average fantasy player after what I saw in the Flock League today. So what would your answer be to this question?
I personally would still go Tua because the weapons around him. Now
Okay.
Tua, and the thing is, I don't think it's Tua's fault. I think it's just the play calling. They're not getting Tyreek and Waddle the ball. I mean, we kind of spoke about this. I don't know if it was in like our friends group or like when we were playing Call of Duty, or was it on a live stream where it was just Devon. It's like Devon's going in motion, it's a screen. Right?
Yeah.
Devon's going in motion, it's something to Devon to get him in space so he can run the ball.
Yeah.
Hopefully that changes this week against the Rams, which technically is a good matchup. And it's a Monday night, if I'm not mistaken. So I would go with Tua this week.
Yeah.
But I do respect Knicks for sure.
If the question is who to start this week, I do think it is Tua. But if the question is rest of season, this would be Bo Nix for me. I don't think people realize how good Bo Nix's schedule is in the playoffs when it matters the most. By the way, since week 3, Bo Nix is averaging over 21 points per game in 6-point passing touchdowns. He's the quarterback 7 in that span. And in the playoffs, he gets the Colts, a top 7 matchup. And in week 17, when championships are on the line, he gets the Bengals, which is a top 5 matchup. So I don't think, Badaki, this to me is just an extension of what happened on the Dynasty channel. It was like the cool thing to shit on Bo Nix. It was a cool thing to be anti-Bo Nix. It was like,
that's right.
No, Bo Nix sucks, and anyone who has a different opinion is wrong. And we felt that on our Dynasty channel all offseason. And I still think okay, so replace Bo Nix's name with Caleb Williams and what he's done for fantasy. Where would he be ranked rest of season? He'd be locked into the top 10
with the weapons too.
Yeah.
Like that, Bo Nix is doing this with respectfully, no one. Yeah, you have Cortland Sutton. Yeah, you have Javonte Williams, but they haven't been producing. Like Caleb Williams has DJ Moore, a proven veteran wide receiver in Keenan Allen, and you get your rookie wide receiver Roma Dunze. I mean, I feel like the sky is the limit here for Bo Nix going into the next year, especially getting another wide receiver on this team, maybe another running back on this team. That's going to be crazy.
Yeah. But again, this week, Tua, he just has a better matchup. These aren't matchups you target for Nix and May, but rest of season, I would still prefer Nix and May for the upside there. All right, next question we've got here. Do us a favor, hit that like button to show some love. Appreciate y'all for being here with us. And the next question is from Daniel.
Yeah.
It's a 1 quarterback, 12-team start 10. He is starting Bo Nix this week, David Montgomery, and James Conner. At his flex, he's going to put Nico Collins in there. Now, he does have names like Waddle, Kareem Hunt. Obviously, if Nico Collins plays, you're going to play your big 3 wide receivers, and they'll probably carry you to a victory. I don't mind playing Kareem Hunt this week, but not if you have better options like David Montgomery, James Cook, and Nico Collins. And if Nico Collins misses time, I think we're going to put Kareem Hunt in that flex spot, right?
Yeah, we'll put Kareem Hunt in that flex spot. And I think you should hopefully know before Sunday if Nico is going to play, because he's playing Sunday night.
Yeah, there's no way to know the answer right now to the Nico Collins questions.
Yeah, so just keep that in mind.
But we would start Tua over Bo Nix, by the way. And, we've said this a couple times on the stream. We have no idea if Nico's going to play. I released the wide receiver video yesterday, and everyone said he was definitely going to play in the comment section. And I don't know that. I think it's a 50-50 shot at this point. Liquid Mama here with the start sit queue. All right, let's start. It's a 1 quarterback 10-team start 7. And they are debating between Burrow and Purdy. You got to start Joe Burrow in this matchup, right? Versus the Ravens Thursday night football divisional matchup. I mean, I'm starting him in the Flock League for sure. I'm kind of nervous how many Thursday night players I have. I have Burrow, Henry, and a kicker. So I hate that I have so much on Thursday.
Thomas's team is nothing to joke about, especially he's getting George Kittle and and Debo back, which is crazy.
Yeah, no, he's got a great team.
At running back, I see you have Tyrone Tracy, Chase Brown. For me, this would be Tyrone. I think the matchup is just favorable there over Chase Brown's matchup this week. But we might start Chase Brown here in the flex.
Yeah, Tyrone's one of my favorite starts this week. Let me double check my rankings, but there's no reason why Tyrone shouldn't just absolutely pop off in fantasy this week. Both are top 20 plays for me. I do lean Tyrone because of that matchup versus the Panthers. And then at wide receiver 2, you can't play JSN. I know it says considering, but you can't. Yeah, I know this is crazy, but I between Khalil Shakir and DJ Moore, I think there's a legitimate question on which way to go here. If Keon Coleman doesn't play and it's tracking that way, I do think I'm going to lean Khalil Shakir. Do you have a strong opinion here? I know it's crazy that we're saying this.
No, that's where I was going to go with Keon Coleman not playing potentially because he did miss practice on Wednesday. I would go Shakira there.
They are back-to-back in my rankings, by the way.
Yeah, I would just go Shakira. I mean, he's been a decent wide receiver. I mean, he's a top 20 wide receiver the last 3 games, 13 fantasy points, 19, 11, and he's averaging what's that? 7 targets per game.
He's been great.
Maybe. Like, it's crazy what he's been doing right now. So yeah, I'll go Shakir there.
You got to put Kate Otten in there because Kraft is on bye. And then at the flex spot, I guess you just put DJ Moore in your flex. Oh, Chase Brown. I'd play Chase Brown over him, honestly.
That's
crazy.
That's what I was saying. I would go Chase Brown. So if anything, you put Chase Brown where Tyrone Tracy's at, and then Tyrone Tracy in the flex.
Exactly.
That's what I would do.
Play Chase Brown at your RB2 spot, and then put Tyrone in your flex, like Badaki said. Man, I can't believe this is the part of the season that we're in. All right, Happy Emo says it's a start-sit question. Lost 2-7. My rival had booms. Depressing time. It's okay. It happens. Hey, at 2-7, you're actually not out of it. You're genuinely not out of it. You're not.
Yeah.
Okay?
No, not at all.
I've been there before, and I've won a championship in our home league. Badaki knows we always tell the story. Okay, at quarterback, you've got Kyler, Trevor, Caleb, Russell Wilson, all his options here. Kyler, after a bust week last week, faces the Jets. I would prefer him over the other options, though, especially with Washington getting Marcus Lattimore. I don't know if he'll play, or Marshawn Lattimore, my bad. I don't know if he'll play this week. I know he's dealing with some injuries, but that Washington defense, man, it's been better than people. It's a complete 180. I'm just going to lean Kyler here with the rushing upside.
Sorry, I had to sneeze. Yeah, I agree. I'm going Kyler Murray there. Breece Hall, Jonathan Taylor, wide receiver. You're considering Marvin, D-Hop, Garrett Wilson, Brian Thomas. Look, you start here, and you have a lot of key guys. You start Malik Neighbors. You start Garrett Wilson for me this week. And at the flex position is between D-Hop, Tyrone, and Martin Harrison. Honestly, all these guys technically, D-Hop has a tough matchup against the Broncos with, Patrick Surtain. Martin Harrison Jr. has a tough matchup with Sauce Gardner. Tyrone feels like the safer bet here.
So, sorry, you're going Wilson, Neighbors, and then we're figuring out the flex, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's, I think it is Tyrone.
Tyrone feels like the safer play here.
Yeah.
I think D-Hop is coming to his own. I think if D-Hop, shit. I love what he did last week. It's crazy. But yeah, I'm going Tyrone.
I just don't love the matchup in Denver. Yeah. This could be a Xavier Worthy week. It could be some, a couple blow-up plays for him. All right, we got a super message here from Michael Cav, and there's an extra donation here, $21 donation. We appreciate you, man. I'm gonna hit you up with a free trade question voucher. Thanks for the love and the support. Just want to say a thank you back. He says, how much emphasis do you put on fantasy playoff schedule? I have Amon-Ra St. Brown and Chase. Should I trade for players like Reed, Malik, Hall, Connor, CMC, and Kyren? Look, it's definitely good to consider, and if you can trade for a player in the same tier that has a favorable playoff schedule, go for it. But like, for example, I know Derrick Henry doesn't have the best playoff schedule from memory. I have him in the Flock League. Let me double check what his playoff schedule is. What does he have? He's got the Giants, Pittsburgh, Houston. So a couple tough defenses there. Am I going to trade Derrick Henry and, tear down because of schedule? No, I'm not going to do that. No. But again, if you have a player in the same tier, for example, if I had Jonathan Taylor and I can turn him into Breece Hall because of that schedule in the playoffs, I'd be totally fine with that. But it's not something that I would force. Do you know what I mean? But yeah.
Yeah, look, I'm not forcing anything. If something comes naturally, I'm happy to make a trade. But if you have guys that we will believe in over the matchup, and those are your key guys, right? Your pillar pieces, the players that you drafted in the first or second round that you feel confident in, that's who you're going to be starting on a week-to-week basis. So that's basically what I would say.
Yeah. But I do love all the names that you mentioned as buys, by the way. Love all their... Well, I love CMC because he's the cheapest he'll probably be rest of season. And the rest of them, I really like their playoff schedules. But, like, for example, if you had Chase Brown, if you can flip him into James Conner because of that schedule he has in the playoffs, I would do that. That's a great example, actually. Appreciate you, Michael. Julian Sanchez says, not sure who to start as my wide receivers and flex. Please help. So they've got Brock Purdy starting at quarterback, Saquon, Kamara at wide receiver. You got to play Tyreek Hill, in my opinion. I know it's been not great so far, but I do believe he's going to recover. And then if Puka plays, you gotta put him into your lineup. And then at the flex spot, we're choosing between names like Brian and Tyrone and Adams. I don't see how you say Adams.
Yeah, I'm going Devontae Adams there over Tyrone.
Love Tyrone,
incredible.
But I just don't see how you say Adams.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, and if Puka doesn't play, which I don't see why he wouldn't. If anything, sounds crazy to say, he came into this game in week 9 questionable with that knee injury. He only plays a couple snaps and he gets ejected. You're resting. You get what I'm saying? So I feel like he should play going into week 10, and it's a Monday night, so he gets the extra day. So you start Puka. So just a little back in there for that as well.
Yeah. Great team. I do think you can consolidate a little bit. I look to, especially in a smaller format like 10-team start 7, if I can turn, like, you've got a pretty deep running back room and wide receiver room, honestly. If you can turn like Cedric Tillman and your quarterback into an upgrade, or if you can use like as much as I love Tyrone or Brian, if I can use Brian and Brock Purdy and turn that into like a Lamar or something crazy like that, I think it's worth doing. Otherwise, each and every week, you're just stuck with this terrible decision to make where you're going to get it wrong. So I'd look to consolidate a little bit on the roster. D-Law here, D-Law 26 with a start rush or another skill guy. It's a 4-point passing touchdown, and I'm guessing this is a super flex league.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to have to start him if it's a super flex league. Oh, well, actually, you don't have to technically.
Yeah, I mean, well, let's go through the roster here. Breece Hall, Aaron Jones, Shakir, Amon-Ra, Cooper Kupp. At the flex spot, you're definitely going to play the running backs like David Montgomery and Tony Pollard. Those guys got to be in your lineup. Now, the question is, are you going to play...
would you play Cortland Sutton over Cooper Rush?
I would just put Cooper Rush in there.
That's kind of the only guy I would feel comfortable potentially starting over.
Yeah.
I mean, what about Amari Cooper? But even though he didn't, I don't think he practiced today either.
There's just not enough evidence yet to start him. At least you know that Cooper Rush is going to have however many drives to score points. He will be in command of the offense. Don't know if that's going to be a good command, but he'll be in command of the offense.
Just dump it down to Jake Ferguson.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm there with you.
Yeah.
Happy with that. Easy E is next. Appreciate you. It's a trade question. He says, honestly, I feel like this is a smash accept. So you're sending away DeAndre Hopkins Braylon Allen, David Montgomery, DeAndre Hopkins. You receive Brian Robinson and Marvin Harrison Jr.
Well, Bijan,
And
definitely.
Bijan, excuse me.
A little different tier there.
Yeah. I would agree. I do like this trade. This is 1 quarterback, 12 teams, start 8. Give me Bijan over Monty.
Braylon means nothing to me, respectfully. So I'm really asking the question of, okay, I want Bijan over Monty. Do I want Marvin over D-Hop? And I think D-Hop had a great game, but I don't think you can expect that every week. So this is very easily, very, very easily the Bijan Robinson side for me.
Completely agree.
Appreciate you, Easy.
Nerd.
Stinky nerd.
Stinky nerd.
Great name.
Go
ahead.
Start sit question here. 1 quarterback, 8 teams, start 7. So this is going to be a smaller league. You're considering the flex option here: Kareem Hunt, Rico, James Conner, Tony Pollard, and Tyrone Tracy.
Wow. Look at that flex. That's crazy.
For me, this would be Tyrone here.
Yeah, I need to remember who Connor plays. So you're playing Tyrone over Connor.
You're playing the Jets.
I mean, Mixon just ran all over their ass last week. I'm not sure I can sit Connor. Gotta call on
Tyrone. I get it. I understand.
Yeah, I think I'm still going to play James Conner, but it's close. They're literally back-to-back in my rankings anyway. So if you have a strong opinion or inclination on which way to lean, I'm fine with that. But for me, it's James Conner. Wait, Tony Pollard's an option too. Yeah, no, we'll start James Conner over Tony this week. Man.
Yeah. I'll go Tyrone.
Geez, how do you can't even consolidate this roster either because it's stacked everywhere. And when Mike Evans is back, he'll be a clear flex for you. I was gonna say consolidate, but how can you in an 8-team league?
Yeah, you're just really nitpicking, right? Like you're going from you already have 2 of the top 3 or top 5 running backs there, which is kind of wild.
Yeah. All right. We do have a team review here. Shout out to M. Flores. Appreciate you. This is a redraft team review. Yes, you can submit a team review through the website. I'll put a link in the chat for you. So if you want us to have a look at your squad, feel free to do so. Shout out to M. Flores here. Says, need serious help. Traded Evans and Cook for Olave and Hunt. Took the gamble to win now. Let's start there. Traded Mike Evans and was that James Cook for Chris Olave and Kareem Hunt.
Yeah.
Okay. But now Olave is gone. Need help thinking of some high leverage trade ideas so I can at least lose going for broke. Any ideas? All right, we can definitely talk through this. So team name is Quarterback Pie. And I hate to break it to you, but you are currently 11th out of 12 teams in our rankings when we look at your team. So it does look like a pretty steep hill to climb. I'm not going to lie. If I had Mike Evans and James Cook, I would understand. And if you need to win, right now your team is 3-6. You do need to win. I understand why you might do that. I feel like I would have tried to extract a little more value out of what we had. But
yeah.
Anyway, let's talk about the team, shall we?
Yeah, it's a bit unfortunate. You have Patrick Mahomes, who really hasn't been doing too well this year. You probably drafted him high. So then you have Breece Hall.
One of our players to avoid this year as well, by the way.
Yeah, and then you have Breece Hall, Kareem Hunt, Chuba Hubbard. You probably picked off maybe off, you probably drafted actually, and the list kind of goes on there. So not the strongest room. I think with Breece Hall and James Cook, it was a good 1-2 punch. You probably picked up Kareem Hunt off of waiver wires, which would have been great. A wide receiver room, T. Higgins, Chris Olave, those are 2 key players already not playing and have missed significant time throughout the season, which hasn't been the best. I mean, you don't have a top wide receiver here, to be completely honest with you.
No, you don't. I mean, this week you will have Roma Dunze as your wide receiver 1. You've got Higgins, Olave, McMillan, all going to be out with injuries most likely.
Yeah. So this is definitely a tough one. And you don't even have anyone here to sell high outside of Breece Hall and Kareem Hunt, maybe.
Trey McBride is really the one that you could get returned from, but I don't want to sell him. You might have to. Look, let's give this team a grade, as we always do, from an A to an F. To me, I hope you guys come to our channel for full transparency and honesty. This is definitely like D plus range. If I think you probably came and you wanted full transparency and honesty. This is a D plus team.
Yeah, it's not ideal, unfortunately.
As it's currently constructed, I would not expect you to make the playoffs. But let's see what we can do to help. Would you say D plus? Am I being too harsh?
No, I agree.
Okay. Waiver wire is kind of naked. My first idea is if you can move Patrick Mahomes at all. And look, he just came off a good game. He has DeAndre Hopkins. I think people might, keyword might, be more interested in Patrick Mahomes moving forward now that DeAndre Hopkins is on the team, right? He had a 30-point game in 6-point passing touchdown formats against Tampa Bay. Next up, he's got Denver Buffalo. I wouldn't expect him to have great games against those defenses. He'll still be Mahomes. But then you can also sell the person on Carolina in week 12, Vegas in week 13. You can sell them on Cleveland in week 15, Houston in week 17. So I'd be interested in seeing if I could sell him. And then I would pick up a Kirk Cousins. I'd pick up a Tua off the waiver wire.
Yep.
A Geno Smith, Drake May. Honestly, I would use Patrick Mahomes to upgrade almost anywhere. And my first idea here is to try and package Mahomes. What do you want to do? Like with Olave to a team that
it's going to have to be
him?
somebody that is not going to play. Yeah, so you go to a team that can wait on him. The first team that I can see here that probably could use an upgrade is Caroline Choice team. 6-3. They have Trevor Lawrence there.
Great team to target here. Waddle's perfect.
Exactly. And Jalen Waddle, even though he's been having a down game, he's still on a good offense.
Got to go for broke
expectations that exactly. You just got to go and try and get a guy. If Devonta Smith was playing this week, that's somebody else I would be trying to target, seeing if you could potentially get him. You just need a wide receiver, honestly, this week.
Let's formulate a deal here. Can you use Mahomes and Olave? Can you turn that into Jalen Waddle and Brian Robinson? Just as an example, right? Jalen Waddle, Brian Robinson, that guy gets an upgrade at quarterback. He also gets Olave whenever he comes back from his injury. That's perfect. That gives you the ability to then go pick up a Tua, a Kirk Cousins, a Geno, Drake May, and play them this week. But you also have Brian Robinson, which you can flex. And instead of Olave, you'll have Waddle, who's been very, very bad. But we know he has these blow-up opportunities. At least you're infusing your roster with some upside. And the reality is, Olave could be out multiple weeks. You won't have, right? So, like, that person's taking on that risk as a 6-3 team. That's perfect. That makes a lot of sense. You can't really trade with a team that it has a negative record. But how about...
It's just tough. All the teams.
How about the guy who has Kyler Murray? I mean, Kyler Murray's had a couple duds in a row. I don't think they would be completely closed off to a conversation. And I've noticed that a lot of people don't want Deebo Samuel. The trade video that I released today, Badaki, has been a very commented thing. I don't want Deebo Samuel. I don't trust him. I want as much Deebo Samuel as I can possibly get on my teams right now. I don't play fantasy with the mindset of, well, he could get injured. Yeah, he could also lead you to a fantasy championship. So again,
this is the guy, by the way. Sorry to interrupt. This is the guy, by the way, that has James Cook and Mike Evans. So he really has somebody waiting in the wings.
Yeah, which is great. Let's go ahead and try and get a Deebo Samuel. Let's send him Olave and Patrick Mahomes and see what happens, right? I mean, if you get Deebo Samuel, fantastic. I mean, you can go out and play him this week. Again, pick up another quarterback off the waiver wire. Is there any other team? Like, there's really not another team that you can target for quarterback, to be honest. I think your best bet is Caroline's Choice team.
Yeah.
It's not another team that needs quarterback. All right, that's one angle we can take. The next angle that we can take is selling high on Trey McBride. Now, if you did this, you would need to go to the waiver wire, and I'd pick up like a Taysom Hill at this point, with no Chris Olave for a while, with no Jamal Williams, Kendre Miller. He's just like this infused of upside on your roster every single week. So if you're going to sell Trey McBride, and we don't want to lose him, but you kind of need to go for broke here, you need to really find a wide receiver to play. And let's find a team. Honestly, you could sell Trey McBride to literally any team, whether they're winning or they're losing right now. But let's find a team that needs tight end. For example, the guy who has Dalton Kincaid. Could you get a Jaden Reed and a Josh Downs for Trey McBride? I would do that.
Okay. Yeah, let's see what happens.
I think that could work. Not the guy who has K. Dalton. He's probably chilling right now.
Yeah,
How about
Dole's
the
on
guy who
top.
has Zach Ertz and
Yeah.
Dallas Goedert? Can you go out and get Brian Thomas and Jordan Addison? Right? And then you can even throw them back like a Quentin Johnston as a 2-for-2.
Yeah, I like that.
David Njoku's probably chilling. Mark Andrews, I'm sure the guy would be open to a conversation. I guess it would be what, like Pittman and Dell? I don't really like that one very much, to be honest.
Yeah, these are tough. Do
you have any other options?
The only other thing I can think of, which is kind of in the light of selling maybe T. Higgins to a team that's willing to wait on him and seeing what you can get there. Like, can you go out and get like a Lab McConkey?
You need an equivalent level player, I think.
The thing is, like, I think I'm just trying to win this week. So my thought process was instantly doing like a 2-for-1 low end, high upside guys like Lab McConkey, Jacoby Myers, Lab McConkey, and Cedric Tillman. Jackson Smith and Jigba or Shakira.
So is JSN.
Yeah. But you get what I'm saying, like those 2-for-1 type of deals. Because once again, you need to win now. T. Higgins is not going to help you now. Neither is Chris Olave. So getting some people on your team that you can start and roster going into this week, and it might have to be a week-to-week type of basis to get this team up and going.
How about this? The guy who's 8-1 has Chase Brown and Jacoby Myers. Can you turn T. Higgins and Quentin Johnston, for example, into Chase Brown and Jacoby Myers? We love Jacoby Myers' playoff schedule. He's averaged over a 32% target share since Devontae
He's also
Adams
on a bye
went
this
down.
week, which is shit.
Okay,
by the way.
but at least you get to play Chase Brown out of that, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Which that does suck though. You're right. All right, how about turning? Who were we just using? T. Higgins. Could you turn T. Higgins into? No, you couldn't. I was gonna say Juwan Jennings and one of these receivers with Puka Trupas, but you just can't. That's asking too much. Yeah, that's a good idea. All right, I think the only other option that you can explore here is Breece Hall. And it's a damn shame that Breece Hall is literally the best trade candidate, like trade for. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's literally the best trade for, I think, right now amongst running backs because his playoff schedule is so hot, it's ridiculous. And he's still dominating touches and snap share, but the fantasy points haven't been there. So I'm only going to trade him if someone can recognize that, right? And we need to find a running back heavy team. For example, yeah, that's not going to work. I was going to say like James Cook and Chubb. I don't really want that much. So let's find a team that actually makes sense.
What does the 8-1 team have? 8-1. Joe Mixon, Kyren.
How about, would you do Aaron Jones and Brian Robinson?
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
I think that could work. Aaron Jones, Brian Robinson. Again, we're trying to get you some wins in a row here to even get you a chance, right? The only other thing I was going to say is if you can flip Kareem Hunt right now, I'm definitely not opposed to it. Reports are that Isaiah Pacheco is targeting a return in season. That scares me. So Kareem Hunt, like equivalent level type of players in rest of season rankings. Like if you can turn Kareem Hunt into a Rico Dowdle or a Stevenson, Najee, a Rashad White, Chase Brown, Tyrone Tracy, I'd be open to that. Brian Robinson. But I think we've given as many options as we can.
Yeah,
I do think
that's a lot of options there.
Jalen Tolbert, man, without Dak, is he worth rostering anymore? I don't know. But I would definitely pick up Trey Benson off the waiver wire, and I would drop Tyler Bidet or, Quentin Johnston. I'd rather roster Trey Benson if James Conner goes down. I'd want to pick up Parker Washington. He's a flexible name. I just don't know who to drop. I wouldn't drop many players on your team. Maybe Tyler Bidet again. So yeah,
it's just tough.
I think that's as much advice as we can give, but
yeah, hopefully that helps, man. We appreciate you.
I appreciate you, Em, and I'm hoping that this is encouraging. Sorry, we are a little too honest sometimes, but I do think you can improve your team. It's going to take a lot of conversations, a lot of putting your foot in the door. And yeah, we appreciate you. Thanks so much for the love and for the support. And we're going to give you actually a free trade question voucher, because you might have some trades that are in the inbox, and before you accept them, feel free to come back and hit us with what you got. All right. Sam, I am here with the start sit question. Drop Spears for Mason or Herbert from the waiver wire? Would you drop Tajay Spears for Jordan Mason or Khalil Herbert?
I would drop Spears for Mason as a precaution to CMC. But I mean, CMC's coming back, so it's kind of no point at the moment. I feel like I'd rather keep Tajay Spears right now.
Yeah. I think Tajay Spears has a chance to have standalone value when he's back.
Yeah, and the only reason why I'm even saying Mason is because if CMC does somehow re-aggravate those injuries, I know he took this whole time, but week 10 he plays, he's feeling good, and then boom, something happens. It's going right back to Jordan Mason. But I mean, the chances of those we don't really know.
Yeah. You know what? The more I think on this, I actually think it's a bit foolish for me. For me not to say Mason. The more I'm thinking through this, originally I was Spears. I have him in the flock league. But if I'm 100% honest, why are we rostering these guys anyway? It's if an injury happens ahead of them, and CMC's already dealing with injury.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't I just say Jordan Mason? I think I would pick up Jordan Mason here.
Yeah. At the running back position, you're considering J.K. Spears, Brian Robinson, Tyrone. I think we will both go Tyrone and then Brian Robinson here.
Yep.
Unless he wants to start J.K. Dobbins. Okay. You're starting Terry. You're starting CD. You're starting George Kittle.
And then probably
you have
Mooney, right?
Yeah, Darnell Mooney. I mean, hell, Darnell Mooney and K. Dalton are crazy this week. Who does K. Dalton play this week again? San Francisco. I'm going Darnell Mooney.
Yeah.
Against the Saints, Marshawn Lattimore.
What if Drake London plays?
If Drake London plays, I'm still starting Darnell Mooney.
Okay.
I think we've seen enough. We've seen enough now to understand what he is without Drake London, or with Drake London, essentially.
I think if he doesn't play, I'd start K. Dalton. I mean, if you viewed K. Dalton as a receiver and you looked at his last 3 weeks, you'd call him a must start. Right? Over 10 targets per game, over 75 yards per game, 3 touchdowns in 3 weeks, averaging well over 21 points per game. So, man, that's kind of scary. Thomas has him. Shit.
Yeah, dude. He has him and George Kittle, brother. That's what's crazy.
Wow, I hope he sits K. Dalton.
I would be starting. Yeah, I mean, I would be starting.
He doesn't watch our channel. Don't worry.
He definitely does. I've seen him in the chat. Yeah, he's been in the chat. Thomas Wade, he's been in here.
Shit. Well, he doesn't watch it religiously, right? I'd start K. Dalton.
Next minute he says something.
Yeah, next minute he's like, "I'm watching all the time, bitch."
Yeah.
I'm watching the film. I'm scouting. Yeah, it would be Dalton for me personally.
Yeah, appreciate you. Mellow BR, appreciate you. It's 1 quarterback, 10 team start, 7.
I can't see BR without thinking Battle Royale, by the way.
No, I get it. I can't wait for the season to start so we can see some ranked and some, I think, Battle Royale and Warzone. Anyways,
yeah.
Shout out to the Black Ops 6. It's been amazing. Let us know if you do play that. We played Kyren Williams for sure. There with David Montgomery. Amari Cooper, I'm seeing that you're starting, but you have CD and Terry McLaurin here, and Puka and Devontae Adams. Why are we starting Amari Cooper?
Well, yeah, we're definitely not starting Amari Cooper. That's definitely not happening. But I wouldn't say CD would be my next choice, actually.
No, it's for me. It would be Puka as my next choice.
Yeah, it's between Puka and Devontae. And Terry, but I don't like Terry's matchup. So yeah, I'm gonna go Puka as well.
Yeah, and
to be honest, Amari Cooper is one of your last options on this roster when I look at it.
Yeah.
You know what you need? You need to desperately consolidate, my friend. Like,
your running backs aren't strong enough.
You have got to turn a Puka.
You need to turn.
I mean, yeah. Would you
Monty
package
into
like
a top
Puka?
5 running minute?
Package Puka and Monty into a Derrick Henry or some shit. Like, this is
something.
This
yeah,
is too much.
Saquon. We need Joe Mixon. You need to go out and get somebody, because right now your weakest point's your RB2. I mean, hell, you can even package somebody to go out and get a Brock Bowers, a Trey McBride.
I like
over
TJ
these
rest
tight
of the
ends.
season, but I agree. The other direction, by the way, is quarterback. Like, package a Pollard and a Goff and turn it into a top 5 name as well. But anyway, I am probably going to play Devontae Adams over all the rest of the options at flex.
Yeah,
but
in the flex option. I agree.
I think the reason they're asking the question, they're probably thinking when they're watching this, but I'm going to play 3 Rams. And my response to that is, I don't care. I'll play 3 Rams.
I mean, I completely agree. I mean,
I just think you'd overthink it if you didn't play those guys. They're your best options.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, you have to think of the Minnesota game. I think they all had crazy games outside of, I think.
Yeah.
Like, literally, just look back. Minnesota, Puka, 18 points. Cooper Kupp, 16 points. Kyren Williams, 22 points. You start all 3 of them.
By the way, I just, like, the update on Dak is kind of insane. I want to share this with you guys. So, a source confirmed that Dak Prescott, why is it doing that? Like, what is the reason that this left side of the screen is so empty? Okay. Here we go. Okay, so Dak Prescott suffered a partial, I don't even know what the word is, avulsion of his hamstring, which means part of the tendon has pulled away from the bone. That is disgusting and sounds extremely painful. So he's not going to be back for a while, guys. I would not be surprised on IR. Anyway,
well, what's crazy is, like, you really must be, like, straining that muscle to pull your tendon away from your bone.
Yeah, and he's literally just in his throwing motion. So weird. CRB56 says consolidate CD plus wide receiver 2 for JJ or Brian Thomas plus Bucky for Nico. Yes, if you can turn Brian Thomas and Bucky for Nico, I would do that in a heartbeat. Don't love Brian's playoff schedule, and the reality is Nico is in the conversation as wide receiver 1 when he's back and healthy. So I'm totally happy with that deal. Now, at the flex spot, they're choosing between Chase Brown and Hopkins and Pickens and Josh Downs. I do like Josh Downs again this week, but it would be Chase Brown for me. And you would have to put him at your RB2 and put one of those running backs into your flex just because he plays on Thursday night. You never know what sort of craziness happens. You want your flex to be free. But I guess with Brian... Yeah?
Sorry, continue. Go ahead.
I was going to say with Brian Thomas, I really love his matchup this week versus the Vikings, so I'm fine to play him as your wide receiver 2 right now as well.
Okay. My question was going to be, how far do you have CD on down to your rankings this week with no Dak Prescott? Because I'm not saying I have him low. I'm not saying I would start George Pickens over CD Lamb, but I don't think it's a dumb conversation, personally. Right. I think the conversation should be had because of what Pickens has been doing the past couple weeks. I know you guys just got Marshawn Lattimore, but if he doesn't play, is George Pickens coming off a bye week going against Washington? Should be a high-scoring game. Is that something we should be considering, or not at all? It's still CD.
I'm not going to sit here and say that you can't consider it, but I would still be going CD Lamb. Yeah, I mean, he's my wide receiver 15 right now. But I definitely understand the question. But I think that Washington's defense has just been much, much better than we remember at the beginning of the season. They're no longer a target or a matchup you target. They're a matchup that you actually are a little bit concerned about, especially if Lattimore plays.
Yeah.
So yeah, it would be CD for me still, but I understand the question.
Yeah. Okay, good to know. Honestly, I have him 17 right now. Like, I will start Zay Flowers, Devonta Smith if he plays.
Sure.
You know, all the other people there. Give me a second. Ellen's calling me. Go
That's all
for
right.
it.
The other thing I was going to say is okay, so if you turn Brian and Bucky into Nico, great. Let's do that. But you have the depth to go further. You can turn Brian and Bucky into Nico, and then you can also turn CD and, let's say, like, I don't know, like Josh Downs, for example, into Justin Jefferson. If you can do both of those trades, I think it actually benefits you greatly. But appreciate you, man. Thanks for stopping by on the site. Jack MDE is our next question here. And he says, thanks for the help. They will add Fab as well. So this is a trade. You send Laporta. You get Austin Eckler. Eckler is just not playable, man. He's not playable unless Brian Robinson's out. I mean, he'll give you like 8 points when Brian Robinson's out, but I don't like. I definitely am open to trading Laporta away. Why does this guy even want Laporta? He has Kate Otten, but I don't want Austin Eckler in return. Well, you have Brian Robinson, so I guess you're trying to cover him off. You already have Kittle and Ferguson.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really. Oh wait, this
Who
is
we
your
on?
roster.
Oh, Jack.
I don't really want Austin Eckler, to be honest with you. I mean, can he turn that into? I'd rather take a shot on Chuba Hubbard with Jonathan Brooks coming back and people panicking on that. I'd rather grab a Juwan Jennings, honestly, rather than an Austin Eckler. If you're gonna trade Laporta, I don't have much faith in Laporta the rest of the season, but I'm definitely not going to like. Eckler doesn't help you.
Yeah, that's fair.
Unless you can add like $40 Fab with Eckler, then that would be my answer.
Yeah, I'm
right.
okay with that. I'll trust you there.
All right, Freddie D with a trade question here next. Guys, if you want to submit your questions and get them prioritized, we do see your super chats, but we will always prioritize questions through the site first. There's a pinned comment there where you can ask us questions. I appreciate y'all for being with us. Got a like goal today of 50 likes. With your help, I think we can do it. Be a friend, hit that like button. All right, let's have a look. Next question's from Freddie D. Take it away.
Freddie D, 1 quarterback, 12 teams start. And you are sending away Breece Hall and Cooper Kupp and receiving Jonathan Taylor and A.J. Brown. I personally think this is a knock.
Yeah, it's a wash.
Yeah, it just really depends on who you favor. I like A.J. Brown's still. I know he's been dealing with injuries, but that was his first game under double-digit points. He's averaging, 21 fantasy points per game right now. And Jonathan Taylor with Joe Flacco, who, by the way, I don't know if reports are true, but they're saying Joe Flacco is going to be the starting quarterback for the rest of the season. That's even more intriguing to me for Jonathan Taylor. So I just think it's a knock, however way you want to look at it.
Yeah. Yeah, this is honestly straight even. I will say I prefer Breece Hall's playoff schedule. It's one of the better playoff schedules, so I might keep the Breece Hall side, but it's a straight wash. Slush Monkey here with a trade question. Yeah, I'll take Mike Evans here, especially if you're a team that has a positive record. By the way, I did some research this week for our trade video. Mike Evans, do you know how many receiving yards he currently has? Off the top of your head? Probably not, right?
No.
So 355.
I was going to say like 500 maybe. Oh, okay.
So yeah, he has 355 receiving yards, which means he needs 600, over 600. He needs to average about 95 receiving yards per game when he comes back after their bye week.
To continue that streak.
To hit 1K. And the schedule is actually very favorable for him to be able to do it. Because if you look at the schedule, again, after the bye, which is when he should be back, he's got the Giants, the Panthers, the Raiders, and then the playoffs, Chargers, Cowboys, Panthers again. So
that sucks, man. That sucks that he got injured. Because that'd be so cool if he can continue that streak, you know?
Well, I think they are going to be intentional about continuing it. Like, hey, we got to get this guy a streak. We got to get it going. I mean, imagine like going into the Hall of Fame and be like, I never had a season under 1,000 yards. Yeah, that's what I contributed. I'll go Mike. Dank Reed, what's up, man? He says Dynasty League switch from 4-point to 6-point passing touchdowns. How do I rank quarterbacks now? Top 20 if possible. How do I rank quarterback now? Trade Kyler, or is rushing still valuable? So look, the question too, are most leagues 4 or 6? Here's what I'll say. Most leagues that are brand new people to fantasy, the casual player, is probably a 4-point. But if you played fantasy football for, I don't know, any more than like 3 or 4 years, then you're probably at 6-point passing touchdown. It's probably about a 50-50 split. But Aki and I prefer to play in leagues that are 6-point passing touchdowns. I can't really fathom or understand why people are in 4-point leagues, to be honest, just because if a touchdown is 6 points for everyone, why the hell isn't it for a quarterback? It makes no sense. And even if you're in a 1-quarterback league, quarterbacks are the most valuable players in the NFL. Why would you reduce their value in fantasy football? So, yeah, that's my little rant. I think it should be 6-point passing touchdowns. The only league we're in that's a 4-point is the Flock League.
The Flock Fantasy, yeah, the Flock League. And just to give you context behind that a little bit, I think the argument, because I think when they was putting in 4-point passing touchdowns, they'll say, oh, it kind of just balances out the league a little bit more. I don't really see how that's the case for me personally, but yeah,
they're lucky. I agree. I got Joe Burrow right now, and
they're lucky. I have Jordan Love too. Shit, yeah. I mean, my guy, we both be going crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. Like, 6-point passing touchdowns is kind of the way to go.
But to be honest,
you throw a touchdown, you get 6 points.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't change too much. To be 100% transparent, like, it doesn't change that much. Rushing touchdowns are still going to be valuable. Guys who get rushing touchdowns will still score a ton of points. So Kyler Murray might go from your quarterback 8 rest of season to your quarterback 9 or 10. Like, it doesn't really change that much. Or guys who throw a bunch of touchdowns, like Joe Burrow, would be a little more valuable. High touchdown passers. I'm trying to think right now. Let me just I can't think of the top. Baker Mayfield, for example.
Yeah, I was say Baker Mayfield.
Great. But you've got other guys like
Stafford, if he had full Puka and
Kirk Cousins, who doesn't score rushing touchdowns but throws a lot. So it doesn't change that much, especially in Dynasty, because Kyler Murray's still a young guy on an extended contract, but. Anyway, here's his start-sit question. He's got Kyler Murray, but he's also got names like, well, you're going to start Kyler. He's got David Montgomery, Devon Achane, Puka Nacua, Malik Neighbors at the flex spot, considering names like CeeDee Lamb. I think you should flex him.
Yeah.
And then Ladd McConkey. Now, would you start a Calvin Ridley over a Ladd? Because he's putting together some consistent games.
Yeah, both of those teams play each other. I would still go Ladd McConkey.
Same. It's close though.
Yeah, it is close. Close.
But you've got a pretty fantastic roster for Dynasty, by the way. I love that you have Brooks and Benson just waiting there in the shadows. Your wide receiver room is pretty deep. Jaden Reed is such a great Dynasty asset. So congratulations on a great roster.
Yeah. Bucker's trade wife. Oh boy. Could pick up Drake May, quarterback, and need to decide in the flex. Okay.
I'd rather start Tua this week.
Yeah, start Tua as well. So you're starting Brian Robinson, Chuba Hubbard, CD. Oh, well, you have Josh Jacobs, who was on a bye, unfortunately. CeeDee Lamb, Brian Thomas. And then in the flex, you're considering Raheem, Ray Davis, Ricky, or Rome.
Damn.
My first instinct here is going to Rome Odunze. Just tough, man. I don't think you can start Ray Davis on the week-to-week or Raheem.
No, Ray. You know what's funny is Ray Davis was outsnapped by Tyler Johnson last week, or whatever his name is, and everyone had him as like their top waiver wire pickup at the running back spot, and I'm like, he's just a handcuff still at this point. Yeah, I think it would be a Dunze, but I don't have much confidence in my answer.
No, I don't either. I might have to start a Dunze in the Flock League if AJ Brown doesn't play, but we will see. BB Fantasy. I'm 5-4. Both of my guys had their bye week, by the way. So you are sending away Kyren Williams, Ladd McConkey, and receiving Kenneth Walker and Zaza.
Yeah, Zay Flowers. I'm not sure we've seen exactly what the wide receiver room looks like yet with the addition of Deontay Johnson. So Although
No, but I would
just
still
think
want
that
Zay
there's more
Flowers over
value.
Lad
Yeah,
though. Yeah, I would still want Zay
exactly.
Flowers over Lad, and I think that's a big enough gap in my eyes, for me to get Kyren Williams and Zay Flowers side.
There's a bigger gap between Zay in value and Lad than Kyren and Kin. So I agree with you.
I agree. LeVar Ball,
Yeah.
I think is next, right?
Yeah.
He says, "What we think of this trade? I did my team. Is Rashid name one? Just to clarify, since the trade went through." Okay. So you are sending away Jonathan Taylor, Cooper Kupp, DeAndre Hopkins, and receiving Kyren Williams and Brian Thomas.
Yeah, I mean, by the way, guys, when you send through a trade question, we don't have access to like your team. We can't then like review your team afterwards, but we can, take as much context as you give us here to give a reply. But not in love with this. I really don't want to send away Cooper Kupp. Full transparency. Love Brian Thomas. Not a huge fan of his playoff schedule though. Let me double check what his playoff schedule is just off the top of my head. It is the Jets, the Raiders, and the Titans. So you got one matchup you really want to target. Two matchups you're not obsessed with necessarily, but he's still an elite player. He can overcome the matchup. But yeah, I would have. This is another example where I feel like Cooper Kupp is ranked well higher than Brian Thomas. It's a bigger gap between Kupp and Brian than it is between Taylor and Kyren for me. So,
I would agree there, and I think he's saying
playoff start week 14. Well, that's Tennessee. It doesn't change much. It's actually the same exact schedule. You just get the worst matchup earlier.
I would say, like, if I'm reading this correctly, you have Aaron Jones and Joe Mixon. Like, you had the depth there.
He says Jonathan Taylor has a bye.
Yeah, Jonathan Taylor has a bye in week 14.
If JT has a bye in week 14, then I understand this, because ultimately you're going to have a better chance to advance in the playoffs with Kyren and Brian than with JT and Kupp and Hopkins. But this is another reason. Like, there are so many reasons why week 14 buys are genuinely the dumbest, or week 14 playoffs starting is genuinely so stupid. But this is just another reason why, because there are so many teams on bye in week 14. Could you imagine going to the playoffs with the amount of buys that are in week 14 this year? Let me double check here.
Yeah, I was literally about to pull up who is week 14.
It blows my mind that people still put their playoffs this early. Look at this list of play. Are you kidding me? The playoffs start, and you've got people who will be without Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson, Zay Flowers. They'll be without Nico Collins, Joe Mixon, CJ Stroud, Jonathan Taylor, Josh Downs, Rhamondre Stevenson, Jaden Daniels, Terry McLaurin, and we still have people who have playoffs in week 14. Why? It makes no sense.
But you should definitely move your playoffs.
100%. There's no reason to put a playoff in week 14. But anyway, with that context, it does make more sense. They pull starters in week 17. I want you to challenge them on that, because there literally hasn't been a team who's done that in like 10 years. They pull starters in week 18. The last week.
You know why? Because week 17, sometimes some teams, have probably clinch that AFC title and the NFC title, but they're still playing in week 17.
Yeah. No, that's a ridiculous reason to put playoffs this early. Like, really? So the chance that maybe there's one team in the... Okay, send this time code to your league, genuinely, because... Sorry, your reason for putting the playoffs in week 14 is because there might be one team in the NFL, maybe one team in the NFL, who has such a good record that they sit their starters for 2 straight weeks. That's your reasoning. By the way, typically never happens. They might do it 1 week, week 18, but that's a better reason to have your playoffs in week 14 than realizing all these teams are on bye. There's literally no rationale behind it. It makes no sense. But anyway, there's no reason to go on a rant. With the context, it makes a lot more sense.
Appreciate that that trade question there. I think the next one we have is Young. I don't even know how to say this name. Something Young.
I'm seeing Kai Bring.
Yeah. Okay, Kyren
Hold on,
Young,
let me
YNG.
refresh. You're seeing Young as the first one?
I think it's Kyren. I was seeing YNG, so I was just saying Young.
Oh, okay, go ahead. My bad.
Sorry, no, that's my fault. Kyler Murray, Bijan Robinson. You're considering Aaron Jones, Breece Hall. For me, I will be going Breece Hall there. You have Tyrone Tracy there as well. This is a 1 quarterback, 10 team star 7, by the way. You are considering Tyreek, Drake London, Malik Neighbors. For me, this would be Tyreek Hill and Malik Neighbors. You have Taysom Hill as a tight end.
Let's just say real quickly, though, if Nico Collins plays, it would be Nico and Hill.
Sure. And then you put Malik in the flex.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
But if that's not the case, then I think the next guy up will be Drake London if he plays. And if he doesn't play,
let's assume he does.
I think I'm going Aaron. Yes, I am going Aaron Jones this week over Tyrone.
Unreal team, by the way. Unreal team. And really the one area you need to improve is quarterback. So again, you could do some consolidation here. You got Brock Bowers when he's back from the bye week, but if you can turn like a Cedric Tillman and a Rico plus Kyler into top 3 quarterback, you should do that. All right, Emma Gill here with a trade question. And they would be sending away Etienne and Terry, and they would be getting back Breece Hall. It's a 16-team start 6. So even though it is a larger league, it's a very small starting lineup at start 6. So basically equivalates to how we view like a 12-team league, I'd say. Now, I do love Breece Hall's schedule. In the playoffs, man, Terry is so good though. I would.
Her team is what? AJ Brown, Chase Brown, Devon.
Her team would be the right side.
Right. Okay.
No, I'm sorry. You're right. Her team is the left side. You're right.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, it would be AJ Brown, Garrett Wilson, Kelce, Kittle. So at running back, they would have Achane, Breece, and Chase Brown as the big ones. And this is a start
AJ
6.
Brown.
Honestly, I'm doing this.
Yeah, AJ Brown, Garrett Wilson. I agree. I'm doing this as well in the star 6. Even if it's a star 7, I think I'm still doing it. I think you have enough there.
Yeah, I agree.
You have enough there. Seta. I think I'm saying that right. I just traded away Jared Reed and Mike Evans for Justin Jefferson, and you also do another trade here. You are sending away Brian Robinson, Jawan Jennings, Tucker Kraft, and you're receiving Aaron Jones and Brock Bowers.
What do you think?
Yeah, I'm okay with this trade.
Yeah, I am more like, and I love Brian Robinson, but I'm more trying to understand why the other person is interested in the deal. So when I ask those questions, it typically means you're winning that side of the deal. So yeah, I like that.
No, this is a great trade for you.
They're 6-3 as well. They said in the chat. Yeah, easy. Let's take it.
Yeah, this is perfect.
Hello, Ted says W trade. Rest of team is Devonta Smith, Brian Thomas, Tank, and Monty. All right, so they sent away Dowdle, Bijan, and Hopkins. They got back Baker, Achane, and Evans. I'd say Achane and Bijan are quite even for me. I do think if I take that equation out of it, I'm asking the question of Baker and Evans or Dowdle and Hopkins, and I think I prefer Baker and Evans for a start 7.
I agree because when Mike Evans comes back, you can plug and play him, which would be great.
And their schedule is really great for Tampa Bay. And Baker is still dealing.
Balling out. Yeah, bro, he's still doing it with freaking
so well.
With nobody there. So,
against one of the best defenses as well, Kansas City. So, yeah, I like that.
Ricardo.
Go ahead.
2 quarterback, 10 team start 8. No real context here. Sam Darnold, and you have Drake May. I'm going Sam Darnold. You also have Josh Allen there, which is great. CMC, you start if he plays, and Tyrone Tracy.
How about if he doesn't? Chase Brown.
If he doesn't play, I'm going Chase Brown, which is going to be a short notice, which sucks. But obviously, it seems he doesn't play. You also have Bucky Irving to start this week, which also is probably not ideal, unfortunately.
Yeah, and you also don't know if Devonta Smith plays. So worst case scenario here is you don't play Chase Brown, and then CMC and Devonta Smith are both out, which would leave you with Chase Brown in your RB2. Well, you couldn't play Chase Brown. That would leave you Bucky in your RB2, and I guess you could flex down, so you're actually not in a bad spot.
I would say this: if Devonta Smith doesn't practice on Friday for you, actually
Thursday, right?
On Thursday, sorry, yeah. If Devonta Smith doesn't practice on Thursday, then I feel like that could be an indication that you don't start him, and you just go the other route. So, like, what I would do here is start Chase Brown regardless, because I think his ceiling is higher with versus Bucky Irving, at least for this week specifically. So start Chase Brown. You put CMC at your flex, and if Devonta Smith does play, then that's okay. You're still going to start CMC over Devonta Smith regardless. No, like that's kind of where I'm.
Yeah, and Devonta is still a good play, but if AJ Brown is back, Devonta, the intrigue does lessen a little bit for Devonta Smith. Yeah. So. He's no longer like a top 15 play. He's more like a top 24 play if that's the case. So yeah, I think the way you and I would set this up is we would actually play Chase Brown at RB2 for Thursday night, and then at the flex we would put CMC there, just without knowing if Smith plays. You know, again, if he practices, it will change, but.
Yeah, and if they both don't play, then you're happy that you started Chase Brown anyway, and then you still have Bucky, Ladd, and Josh Downs to choose from.
And I would choose Downs there.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
That was fun. Frizzle says, Smith questionable makes me worried. At quarterback, they are choosing between Kyler and Drake May. Yes, if he practices, you can start him, Ricardo. Kyler, Drake May. I'm still going to go Kyler. If this was remember, a couple weeks back when we had Drake May against the Jags, we were very bold in saying, and at that point, it was like his second start. Start Drake May over Kyler Murray this week. That's not the case this week. They're both having relatively poor matchups, and in that scenario, I'd rather just start Kyler Murray. Then Bijan, Joe Mixon, Zay, Devonta Smith at tight end. I think you have to start Cade Otton. And then at flex, honestly, what you'll have to do actually is start Mike Gesicki at tight end. And then you're going to have to flex Cade Otton. Do you want to start Jake Ferguson? I just don't know how I feel about Jake Ferguson with a backup.
Yeah. Mike has been doing decent the past 2 weeks.
With no T. Higgins, he's been unreal.
Yeah. Well, at least it's just the last 2 weeks. I mean, the couple weeks before that, he's been doing nothing. So I guess they really just got him. Well, I guess T. Higgins really just missed the past 2 weeks. It feels like he's been missing more than half of this season, to be honest. But yes, Mike Gesicki, I would be going over Jake Ferguson. I do believe Jake Ferguson could be the safety blanket, and they're going to be simplifying this offense a little bit for Cooper Rush.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my little bright side there for Jake Ferguson owners.
Yeah. All right. Another question here from JS1992. If Nico is out, do I go with Pearsall or Allen? So they've got a great lineup here of Hurts, Achane, Cook, Brown, Marvin, Nico. And they said if Nico is out, Pearsall or Allen, I would put Keenan in there. I really don't want to play either of them, but with Debo coming back and Jawan Jennings probably coming back and CMC coming back, Ricky's appeal, it's just not the same, to be honest.
No, it's not the same. So I agree. You start Keenan Allen there, which is unfortunate, but unless there's a conversation or a tweet that comes out saying, Ricky's going to be more involved, but like even then, we need to wait and see what that looks like.
Even
first.
Then, it could be a Fugazi.
All
right, let's double check. I don't think we have any more questions through the site. We can probably go to YouTube now. Okay, we don't have any questions. Shout out to M, who is the top supporter in November so far. Slush Monkey in second and Daniel in third. Appreciate y'all.
Love.
Does this count up their total or something? I don't know, but that's cool. We're always up improving the site somehow. All right, let's go to super chats here on YouTube.
By the way, we did get a super chat that I don't want to forget. I put that on the drive. It was by Shane F. He did a super chat earlier yesterday.
Okay.
We were gonna go live yesterday, but then we was like, you know what? It's election night. We'll let you guys do that, and we were gonna come back today, which we did. Shane donated yesterday. That image is on the drive. I took a quick photo of that. But Shane F, if you are here or maybe watching this later, yeah, I'm not. I just hope that you see this. I hope that you see I hope you see that we answered your question, and
Probably
then leave
not.
you out to dry.
I was gonna say he's probably not gonna see this, but
he says trade Alvin Kamara for elite wide receiver like Nico or JJ. My other running backs are CMC and Brian Robinson. Other wide receivers are Garrett and Devonta Smith. I'm 5-4. Stroud is my QB. It's a half PPR. So trade Kamara for an elite wide receiver like Nico or JJ. Garrett Wilson, Devonta Smith on 5-4. I'm not sure I would rather keep Alvin Kamara and then flex Brian Robinson.
The issue is Kamara is just such a clear upgrade over Brian, and I do love Brian, but I'm more curious what your flex is. Do you know what I mean?
That's what I was gonna say. I wonder who else you have on the wide receiver room.
For example,
because
if his flex is like Lab McConkey, then I do this deal and I start Nico, and I put Devonta Smith at my flex and I start Brian Robinson. So it really comes down to who his flex is. That's what's unfortunate. He's definitely not on the stream right now with us, so hard to say. But I do think when Nico is fully healthy, I would have Nico ranked ahead of Kamara rest of season.
Yeah, I understand that. I think like maybe what I'll try and do is try and package like a Brian Robinson. Let's say that your flex is not as healthy. Can you go out and package a Brian Robinson for I mean, I don't know I'm just gonna say names. I'm not saying you should, but like you can think of Darnell Mooney, a Jacoby Myers who has a favorable rest of season schedule. You can think of these high upside names that you could potentially get, but it just depends on your team, which we don't have that context, which is unfortunate. But hopefully that helps, and hopefully you can see that.
I would rather keep Brian because I think he's a good buy low. So, but anyway, at least we tried. We tried to help out. So we'll see if he sees that or not. I'm sure he'll reply
Hopefully.
if he does. Go ahead. Go ahead. With,
the first super chat from Joshua. The first super chat I can see is from Joshua. He says start Jaden Daniels or Bo Nix. I'm going Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, I'll go Jaden Daniels as well.
You have to go Jaden Daniels.
I know it's a tough matchup, but you can't sit him. By the way, Adam Cook, who's probably not watching anymore, but our editor on the Dynasty channel, just want to show him some love. Says Mooney, Brian Thomas, Waddle, who we starting? That'd be Brian Thomas for me versus the Vikings. One of the best matchups in fantasy right now. Mooney would be a real close second. But it looks like Drake London has a real good chance to play because he's already limited this early in the week.
Yeah, it has to be Brian Thomas as well. I think it's really close with Darnell Mooney. I know Brian Thomas is... I think he will play this week. He was questionable last week. He played last week, but didn't really have the best matchup against Philly there. But yes, I feel like it has to be Brian Thomas, so I would agree there with you, but I wouldn't be surprised if Darnell Mooney outscores him.
All right, Easy Vanya with a donation here says Hurts, Connor Taylor, Adams, McLaurin, Kittle, Nakua, benches Addison, Benson, Deontay Johnson. Any changes? I wouldn't make any changes. I'd rock with all those names. I would definitely not start Deontay Johnson. I would start Connor and Jonathan Taylor over Pollard this week. So I think you have it exactly how we would have it. If you can turn Deontay Johnson into anything, that's the only change I'd make. If I can package Deontay and Addison and get a reliable wide receiver, I would do that. Robert Cano here with a donation says trade away Marv and Najee Eckler for AJ and Etienne. Marvin Harrison, Najee, and Eckler for AJ and Etienne. I think AJ Brown's the most valuable player in that deal. And I don't have a strong opinion on Eckler or Etienne moving forward. But basically, like, if I took those guys out of the deal, would I not accept AJ for Marvin Najee? I would. I would still take AJ, so.
Yeah, I would just say, like, I'm not saying that... Well, I guess I am saying I don't want Travis Etienne I would just try and see if I can get somebody else. Even, can I get a Kareem Hunt who's going to be, I feel like, more serviceable right now than Travis Etienne for the rest of the season, a Tony Pollard, a Chase Brown, which is very doubtful, a Rashad White, a Bucky Irving. I would rather have a Tyrone Tracy. I just don't want Travis Etienne. That's how I feel right now. Like, he does not make me excited.
Yeah.
John, he says, hey, a few things here. I have Tyreek Hill, George Pickens, Cortland Sutton, Tank Dell, Sam Laporta, TJ Hawkinson, Mike Gesicki, no Higgins, full PPR.
Okay, so let's pick 2 wide receivers, a tight end, and a flex. The 2 wide receivers you're starting is definitely Tyreek Hill and Tank Dell, with or without Nico. Oh, I don't know. If Nico's there, I might start Pickens over Dell, actually.
I guess we just don't know. We just don't know. I would personally still go Tank Dell, but I can understand even with Nico Collins. I think it just opens it up more for Tank with Nico there.
Either way, I'm putting Tank in my flex or Pickens in my flex. So, again, Tyreek, Pickens, Dell in your flex or whatever, right? And then as far as tight end, I'm going to be starting TJ Hawkinson. Love him this week. One of my starts of the week, actually.
Yeah, same.
And that answers the question.
Yeah. Appreciate you.
And yes, we are still answering questions on the website. You can submit a question on the website at any time, guys. There's just none on there right now, last I checked, but I can double check and see if any pop up. Let's see here. None right now.
None right now. Okay.
Dynasty
the
question
Man
from the
is
Pigeon
next.
Man. Yes, longtime supporter. Go ahead.
Yeah, it says if you weren't competing until next year, would you look to sell or keep David Montgomery? If you weren't competing up next year, yeah, I think it just depends. I feel like you can't get a first for Monty. I don't think people want to do that. But I just feel like he's been so good that I don't want a second for Monty unless I can get a younger player that has
is the difficult part. Yeah.
No one wants to do that because instantly they go, well, Jahmyr Gibbs is in front of him. I would just rather keep Monty, but it just depends on the players that you can potentially pivot to as well.
The reality is no one's going to give you a first for David Montgomery, and if they don't, there's no reason to sell him, especially after the extension. So that's how I would play it. Like if you can get a first equivalent, you do it. And when I mean that, I mean like a second round pick and this player that makes first value, a second round pick and this tight end, this running back, this wide receiver. If you can sell David Montgomery for JJ McCarthy, for example, I would do that in a super flex format. But it's going to take the right offer. I'm not just going to accept a random second. That's not
according to Keep Trade Cut, Jonathan Brooks, Jalen Waddle, or DJ Moore is equivalent to David Montgomery. I think all those guys in Dynasty are young players. I'll take Jonathan
Brooks for sure.
Yeah. What about Jalen Waddle?
I would take Jalen Waddle in Dynasty.
DJ Moore?
Yeah, I'll take DJ.
Yeah.
I'll build around the wide receivers.
Exactly. So I'm okay with that as well. Cool. Appreciate you, Wayne Black. Pick one: Stroud, Tua, or Stafford. This is really close between Tua or Stafford. If I'm not mistaken, I had these guys close in my rankings this week. Let me just pull it up here.
Me. Just love that matchup against the Rams. But
yeah,
I can understand
it is Tua
either way.
For me. I have Matthew Stafford because I like the matchup. I just think once again with Puka and Cooper Kupp back, the guy is just going to be a touchdown machine. So I like Tua though this week.
I will say though, by the way, if Nico Collins comes back, I'll probably go ahead and start CJ if that's the case. Just right now, I'm projecting that not to happen, and if it does, right now CJ and Tua are back to back in my rankings, and if Nico is back, I'll put CJ one spot ahead of him.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I can back that.
We did get a question through the website, so let's go there.
Okay.
Again, guys, if you want to get your questions prioritized, Super Chat is an option, but the website is where we'll always go first if there's a question. And, there's a couple of reasons behind that, but one of the reasons is because YouTube takes 30% of your donation that you're intending to go towards us building our channel. And it's just a better experience over there. But whole milk is king. is sending away Brian Thomas and Kelce. They're getting Nico and Laporta. I'll be honest, I love Nico Collins. I have no interest in trading for Sam Laporta. The downgrade from Kelce to Laporta is massive. It is so significant here. I gotta counter this somehow because I can't do this, man. I mean, so see, yeah, you're gonna add Laporta and every week decide between Laporta, Ferguson, and Kraft. That sounds like hell.
Well, I think I would be okay with this because I think we would both say that on a week-to-week basis, it's based off of how these players have been utilized. Tucker Kraft should be the guy that's starting on a week-to-week basis, even over Sam Laporta.
It's just,
you get what I'm saying?
Like a waste.
Let's
remove Laporta from the conversation entirely, and instead of Laporta,
I'm happy to do that.
Why don't you get back like a Pickens?
Yeah, I'm happy with that.
That makes more sense to me. Or if we remove Laporta, is there like?
I think Pickens is hard. It's hard to do. I see Brian Robinson there. I see George Pickens.
Let's get B-Rob, and then we can even send him back, like a Jonathan Brooks. Right, that's another counter. I don't know, man. Like Kelce he's been so good since they got DeAndre Hopkins. Like, we should take that into account. He looks like the tight end one with DeAndre Hopkins. 24 points in week 8, first game with D-Hop. 22 in week 9, second game with D-Hop. 14 receptions, I think, is a career high for him last week, by the way.
Yeah, I get you. I'm okay with that.
He's had a 17 target game, but he's never had 14 receptions. That's hard to trade away. And again, I go back to, like, imagine it was a tight end, or imagine it was a wide receiver. Would we think the same thing?
I think you just need to be, like, if you're going to be selling away Travis Kelce, you have Tucker Kraft. You have Tucker Kraft and Jake Ferguson, then maybe it's okay to sell one of those guys as well. Like we can't really sell Jake Ferguson out with Dak Prescott. I think Sam Laporta still. I don't know if your league is sharp, you might not be able to sell Sam Laporta. But if you know there's like a Lions fan in your team or somebody that's struggling at the tight end position and starting a Taysom Hill or a Cole Kmet, maybe they just like, you know what, Sam Laporta is just a good name on a good offense. Maybe you can see what you can get out of it. But I think if he doesn't like that trade, like if he doesn't like to swap George Pickens, I would still want Nico Collins over Travis Kelce, because I think it's pretty significant with the tight ends that you have right now. That's what I would say. If you can't get the trade done that Zach's saying, I think Nico Collins is significant to add on this team.
Yeah, that's
when
fair.
He's back.
I'd rather do the counters, but I understand it.
Yeah.
All right, we did get another question on the site here from Jay Allison. It's a trade question. They would send away CeeDee Lamb. They'd get back Brian Thomas and Terry McLaurin. Are we sure that CD is ranked ahead of Terry rest of the season? And that's what's tough for me with this question, and that makes me lean the Terry McLaurin side of this. It really does. We don't have the team linked here, so we can't see the rest of the team. It is a start 7. It's a small roster. I'd probably accept this trade, and then I'd use Brian Thomas in another upgrade. I'd accept the trade. I don't know who scores more points between Lamb and Terry rest of the season. And then I would try and use Brian Thomas and package him with another wide receiver or running back to upgrade at one of those positions. So, yeah, I think that's how I would operate here.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. I am okay with that.
All right.
Appreciate you.
Yeah, back to YouTube, right?
Back to YouTube here. I think Brock Gibbs is next. Is playoffs in mind, trade for Jacobs or Connor? I think both of these guys have good playoff schedules, if I'm not mistaken, to your last video. I think Josh Jacobs has a great one, and so does James Conner. I would personally rather
like undefeated, but
yeah, I think as a player, I would rather have Jacobs, even if James Conner's schedule is favorable by like 2 or 3 spots, and offense as well, right? So I would still rather have Josh Jacobs rest of season, even with the playoffs in mind.
It's close enough for me to to say whoever you can get, but I mean, there's an argument that if Lloyd gets healthy, he might get more opportunities in that backfield.
That is true. It's going to be interesting. When does he come back from IR, actually?
2029, I think.
Honestly, dude, it is crazy.
It is crazy.
Could be back from IR after bye week. So at week 11, he could potentially be coming back.
Yeah. I think James Conner's going to be cheaper, so I'd go that route.
Sure, I'm okay with that.
Option. Agent 49 says 10-man full PPR, Stafford, Nix. He's got a great squad here with names like Barkley and JJ and Nico and Hawkinson. Do I stand pat rest of season or flip strength or flip a position of strength for running back? Okay, so his running backs, our RB2 is really the problem here between Stevenson and Rachaad White. But what I will say is Rachaad White's schedule in the playoffs is fire hot, so I don't mind him as an RB2, to be honest. In the playoffs, you've got the Cowboys and the Panthers in week 16 and 17. That's some of the best matchups you could hope for. I mean, honestly, week 16 onwards, he probably has the best matchups in the playoffs. But I wouldn't be opposed to it. You know, he's got JJ, Nico, Samuel, McConkey. This is tough, man. I might stand pat here. I might stand pat. Love Hawkinson in the playoffs. The only thing you might do is, well, to be honest, I love Nix in the playoffs too. I was gonna say quarterback, but Nix is a fine quarterback option in the playoffs. He really is.
Yeah, I don't know if there's anything that you can do here to move. I was gonna say maybe White and Gesicki, but in a 10-man league, I think tight ends are okay. But look, if somebody is not okay at the tight end position, then I would package White, get a Gesicki, package White and Mike Gesicki, and see what you can get. You know, see if you can go out and get one of the favorable matchups that Zach has been talking about. I don't know if you can get a James Conner. I doubt you can obviously get the Josh Jacobs. I forgot the other favorable players or matchups. I think you also mentioned Tony Pollard in one of the videos.
Rachaad White, funnily enough, is on this week's video.
Is also on that video, which I remember. So yeah, I'm happy either way. If you can pivot to an offense that you feel a little bit more comfortable with, see what you can do.
Yes. Appreciate you, man. All right, next donation here is from Weston. Says start 2 Tracy Hunt, J.K. Dobbins. This is definitely Tyrone for me, and then
Tyrone
between Hunt and Tracy, it'll be close.
I'm going Kareem this week.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I don't like Dobbins' matchup, but I'll go that direction. Vincent says play 2 Cup, Garrett Wilson, Pickens would be Cup and Wilson, and then pick 1 between Jones, Nix, and Goff.
I am going Bo Nix here. It will be in order
versus Chiefs.
Bo Nix, Goff, and Daniel Jones. I mean,
I'm gonna go Goff there myself. I definitely understand the rationale. It's really tough to rush against the Texans, but I mean, look, the Lions are going to rush on anyone. I'm just going to go Goff there. I just prefer that matchup a little bit more. I know Baker played well last week, but that's been the exception so far against the Chiefs.
Sure, that's fair. Manny says start 2 Chase Brown, Devonta Smith, Chuba Hubbard, Tank Dell, Shakira. Well, if Devonta Smith plays, you start him, and I will be starting him with. I would actually be starting him with Tank Dell over Chase Brown this week if Nico Collins doesn't play. But if Nico Collins does play, that does bump him down a little bit, which then I would go Chase Brown. But you won't know that most likely until after Thursday night. So you might have to go Chase Brown, Devonta Smith. But
any help, I would start Chase Brown regardless. So maybe that helps him lean that direction anyway, since we're kind of on the edge. Be Chase Brown and Devonta for me if there's no AJ Brown. It'd be Chase Brown and Tank Dell for me if there's AJ Brown but no Nico.
I mean, hell, if Devonta Smith doesn't play, then it's Chase Brown, Tank Dell for me regardless.
Yeah, which is why I think you have to play Chase, because you won't know that for Devonta Smith.
Sure. Yeah, so hopefully that helps. Zombies, he says 2 flex, Mooney, Downs, or Jennings. This would be Darnell Mooney and Josh Downs for me.
Yeah, I agree. I do like Jennings, but Josh Downs, he didn't have the week we wanted him to last week, but he had a 32% target share. He had 8 targets. He was doubling the targets of any other wide receiver. I think he's going to have great games moving forward. Actually,
just 10 more yards. Just 10 more yards.
One wide receiver full PPR. CD, if active, I guess. If
healthy, maybe.
Marv Adunze. I'll go CD here. Still.
Yeah, I'm going CD is there.
And then if he doesn't play, I'll go Marv.
Sammy. He says, hey, Jane Daniels or Stafford this week. Let's start there. Jane Daniels most likely for the both of us.
Yeah, I'm still going to go Jane Daniels. Yeah, I get it's a tough matchup, but I'm not going to sit Jaden. I mean, he's just too good. He's just too good to sit. I mean, he really should be in like the start every week type of category. He literally hasn't busted pretty much ever. I mean, I know week 7 versus Carolina, he had 5 points, but he played 14% of the snaps. He left the game with that rib injury. He really hasn't busted at all.
Oh, Lord, I'm about to bust.
I am James Cook or Chase Brown. I'll go...
I'm going James.
I think I'm going James. I need to double check my rankings real quick, though. Yeah, I'll go James there versus the Colts. It's a great matchup.
Appreciate you. Who is next? Zombie with another question. Trade for Tyreek. Who do I give away? Mooney, Dobbs, Downs, Myers, Thielen, or Jennings? Main wide receivers are neighboring Cooks. Look, if you can get Tyreek Hill for any of those names in a package, a Mooney, Myers, a Mooney Downs, Myers for Tyreek, I think we would do that in a heartbeat. I doubt you can get that done.
Yeah, I would. First thing I would try is Mooney Dobbs. If that doesn't work, Mooney Myers. If that doesn't work, Mooney Downs. And if any of those packages work, I think you'll be happy with it come playoff time. First of his name says 10-team Dynasty half PPR. Would you guys trade Barkley in a second for Gibbs? Yes, I would. I would take the Jahmyr Gibbs side there. In a Dynasty league, I would.
Yeah, I'm okay with that trade as well. Jonathan, full PPR. Hurts, Tracy, Dobbins, Adams, Smith, Kelce with Higgins out. Do I flex Jennings, Ridley, or JMO? Ridley or Jennings is where I'm contemplating, and I'm pretty sure I have Cam really higher this week in my rankings. And yes, I do. I have Cam really higher in my rankings this week over Jawan.
Yeah, it'd be Ridley as well for me. Oh, I mean, Ridley's been... What if Will Levis plays? I know that sounds crazy, like his starter plays. I think if Will Levis plays, I'd go Juwan.
I'm still going... I think I'm just going based... Look, I think, yes, that can definitely impact him. I'm still just going to go based off of that they want to get him the ball.
Yeah, they did want to get him the ball when Levis was playing, but he had like 2 catchable targets on 10 targets.
Yeah, so...
I understand. For me, if Levis plays... I would go ahead and lean Juwan Jennings versus Tampa, which is a great matchup.
Yeah, which makes sense. I can understand that. Wayne Black with another one. Appreciate you. He says, pick 2. Odunze, Allen, Ridley, Bateman. I'm assuming Allen is Keenan Allen. This one might have to be maybe both of the Bears, even though I don't like that.
Well, you're not going to start Ridley? After the conversation we just had?
You know what? You're right. I would start Ridley and Allen.
Yeah, same.
You're right. You're right.
Jason says, believe Gesicki hype or roll with Henry this week. Henry being Hunter Henry. Full transparency, I think if anyone's confident on tight end advice on a week-to-week basis. Okay, apparently our mic is messed up.
Okay, mic is messed up.
1 second. Let's see. Are we back? Let me know, Badaki, if you can hear us.
Yes, I can hear. Hello.
I need to invest into like a some sort of board for my mic. You know? I'm relying on the USB right now, but I need to get one of those cords and one of those interfaces. Anyway,
Alan's calling me. Answer that question.
Okay, so what I was going to say, Jason, is essentially if anyone is giving you advice on tight ends and they feel like they just know what's going to happen at the position, I'll be honest, I don't know if I trust that person. Now, we can chase good matchups for tight ends. We can chase high over-unders. We can chase consistency. But the reality is I just don't think anyone should be confident in an answer like this. So that might not be exactly what you want to hear, but it is an honest answer from me.
What was the answer?
I haven't given an answer just yet.
Okay.
And if I had to choose between those two names, I'm probably rocking.
I know where I'm going.
I mean, honestly, at the position you're chasing upside, are you not? I think I would go Mike. That's what you're chasing. You're chasing what's happened the last 2 weeks for him. And I know Hunter Henry's been very good, but would you rather trust if your life was on the line and you had to trust a touchdown from a tight end, would you trust one from rookie Drake May or from Joe Burrow with no T. Higgins? I mean, it's just I'll go Mike there. I don't know the answer, but I'll go Mike.
For me, this is Hunter Henry. I think he's just been involved in the offense a little bit, a lot more throughout the year. And I get it, you are chasing upside at the position. But I think if you're really breaking it down, I guess the upside does lean to Hunter Henry. I'm just trying to pull it up, what he's averaging right now. Hunter Henry averaging 9.6, Mike Gesicki 8.4, so it's not that big of a difference.
The difference there is you need to take into context when T. Higgins is not playing.
Sure.
It's a very different story. And Eric Hall just went down with the ACL tear.
Yeah, so I completely understand. I feel like Hunter Henry has a safer floor.
That's fair.
Where
like I said,
I feel like
I don't know anybody that can predict this well, but
yeah, I don't know anyone that can predict it well either. But if Mike Gesicki can rock up and get you 1 point, where I feel like Hunter Henry won't do that based off what we've seen so far throughout the season. But
yeah,
it's not a
2 point game, but not a 1 point game from him. That's fair.
Yeah, it's not an easy question, I would say.
No, definitely not. What's funny is he played 36% of the snaps and he had 27 fantasy points, which that's hilarious. I mean, when he's out there, he's just a receiver. All right. I have a lot of content to record today. I'm not going to lie. I don't think I have much more time to go live here. What we'll do is we'll answer 3 questions at random from people because there are no more donations on the website or super chats. So I'll answer 3 questions at random. And let's start with... Oh, by the way, Shane saw it. That's great.
Oh, Shane, did you? Dude, yeah, that's awesome. I'm glad. Oh, that's so good. I was a bit worried that he's going to come back like, dude, you never fucking answer my questions. These guys are idiots.
Yeah. Let's go A-Wong. A-Wong, who says, is CD for Kupp and Hopkins a good trade? I'll be honest with you, A-Wong. I am shocked that you're getting an offer for Cooper Kupp alone for CD Lamb right now. So, yeah, that's an incredible offer. Take that. That's 1 out of 3. Sir Poppy is 2 out of 3. He says, should I trade Breece Hall for Terry McLaurin? My other running backs are Connor, Bijan, and Achane. I have Daniels at quarterback. We had this question earlier, and we leaned Breece Hall, but it was very close. I think if you need more help at wide receiver, so for example, if this drastically improves your wide receiver 2 spot, I would do it. But if it just makes your decisions each and every week more difficult from a flex perspective, I would keep Breece. That's how I'd answer it.
Yeah, no, I would also say if this is like a start 12, or it's not start 12, start 8, I feel like maybe I would still want Breece Hall rest of the season over Terry, but maybe that's me.
Yeah. All right, and last one for today. Let's just go. I'll be honest, like full transparency, when someone spams a question, it does not make me want to answer it. But I know this person's been consistently on our streams. So Rahit says, quarterback Hurts, Daniels, running backs are that could be Kenneth Walker or Kyren Williams. I don't know. But Tracy, Irving, what's the question here? Would you trade Sutton, Daniels, Tracy for CD or Cup?
Would you trade Sutton, Daniels, or Tracy for CD?
I wouldn't do it for CD. I wouldn't include Daniels. I would do it for Cup. I would do it for
Would
Cup.
you trade Sutton, Daniels, and Tracy for CD or Cup? Yeah, I would do that for Cooper Cup.
Yeah.
Who's his quarterbacks? Jaden
Hurts and Daniels.
Hurts. Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Yeah. All right,
Okay
that's
with
it for today, guys. I got a bunch of content to go record, and we will be live tomorrow. Again, if you want to get your questions prioritized and you want to get answered first on every stream, the website is the best place to do that. Link is pinned in the chat. Also, if you guys don't know, we do have a Dynasty channel. Yes, we do have a Dynasty channel. It's been active for years. And if you haven't checked it out yet, I can't recommend it more. We actually just dropped a trade video on there today. So I'll put that link in the chat to our Dynasty video now, or our Dynasty channel now. You can see that video, fresh video off the press. We've posted a video per week for the past 5 weeks, I think. So
5 weeks, yeah, 5 weeks.
And then in the off season, it'll be much more active. Appreciate you guys. We'll see you soon. All love.
Love.